this is part two of my interview with Kat from Alabama. And Kat, the last thing we were talking about is your granddaughter, and she was scared, and she described what she saw, and you knew it was a Bigfoot. And then you said something about you feel like they would come to your aid. Why don't you tell us what you're talking about?
Well, I do believe that if there was ever a time that I was out in the woods, you remember me telling you when I was growing up, I saw no predatory animals?
Right.
I believe even back then they were watching me grow up. There have been reports of the foots in this country since the 1930s by my grandfather. And I was the type that everywhere I would go, I was either laughing or giggling and singing my little heart out. I mean, and matter of fact, they respond to my singing too. But I do believe that they protected me over the years from that because, you know, there's a lot of things out in the woods that, you know, we might not see, but they're there. And like I said, I just really believe that. And I believe if something was to happen, I believe that truly they have a heart big enough that they would try to help me in whatsoever they can. I really do believe that. I don't want to put it to test, but I do believe that they watch over me for some reason, and why I do not know.
So you think that they're a species that can think in a benevolent way? In other words, they would have to have feelings to be that way with you. You know, like a deer or a dog. Well, you know dogs. Let's take dogs. You know, dogs have emotions, and I think they even have feelings. But and even a dog will come to your aid. So I guess I'm explaining the whole thing here. I was trying to contrast that, but actually, you know, animals they have the ability to do that. So, but now, go ahead.
Here's something I think happened the night that they started screaming, you know, nonstop at me and my husband. Like I said, I believe that was a war cry. And yes, there was a bad electrical storm. I tried to figure out all through the years what was going on. Well, you know, why they got so upset. But what I truly believe the night they started screaming at us nonstop. You remember my husband, he got smart and he thought he was going to mimic their calls and see if they could see them. There's no way he could, you know, do it or whatever. I mean, you can tell a human from what I've been hearing. And he made that yell first. And I think they thought that we was fixing to get in a big fight. They could have backed up. I really do. I mean, because, you know, they were, I really do. I think they were ready to rumble, you know, for my sake. But there was another time this guy, he made out those yells from my backyard, and when he did, buddy, they come and running. There was about 3-4 different directions. They started coming and running towards my house. And and then they got right up on the wood line. We heard them growl. And he got knocking on the trees, and then he took the stick and he threw it toward the woods. I said, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. He said, well, I said, because they're more accurate in their throwing than you are. And then you could just feel them. I mean, you got to realize these foots, they have a presence about them that you can feel them. You know, you can feel them when they're near. You can smell them too.
Yeah, you were talking about that. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But, and you, so, okay, well, just along the lines of them coming to your aid and, you know, and this is something I've picked up and heard from other people that it's like that land has been in your property for, you know, since you were born, but generations back. So y'all pretty much belong there. That's your place. You know, it's a part of you. You're a part of it. And all the animals, including the Bigfoot, know that you belong to that land. And so this just goes right along with what all the stories, all the things I've heard. If they know who those people are, then they tend to get along with them. But you told me a story about your dog, when your dog died, or when you had to have your dog euthanized. Can you just hit the high points of that one and tell everybody how that ended up?
Well, I have to bring out the part of what happened before then, but it won't take but a few minutes.
Go ahead.
I had a friend that she and I would go, trailblazing every weekend looking for evidence and stuff like that. And we found the hot spot. And one Saturday we went down there, and when we did, there was these beautiful flowers laying all over the bed of those woods. I mean, they was just blanketed. And I've never seen these types of flowers before in my life. I don't know where they were, live flowers. And I don't know where they came from. I've never seen this type of, flower before. And they were just beautiful. And I thought to myself, where these come from? Where these come from? And we're in there in the hot spot. We'd always find where they'd been sitting. And what they would do is they'd go down there to the creek and break the top out of a bay leaf tree, and then come up there and peel the bark off the tree. And they have the little sticks, and they stack them neat and low, just stack them, not crooked, just straight line on top of one another. And so that really meant a lot to us, and all. And then there was one time that we went trailblazing, and we was cut through the pine thicket and stuff, and it was full of underbrush, and where these stick gets in your hair, and you try to pull half your hair out trying to get release, and we came out into the field, and there was these rocks, and I said, well, we was experimenting and stuff, and I said, well, let's build a stone structure. I said, we were very inquisitive to see how things would, react around it. So we did. And then we walked down to the end of the field, and I was coming back, and I said, oh, no, I've lost my glasses. And we backtracked from the field, but we wasn't going to go back to the woods because there was no way we were going to find those thick brush and stuff. So we took pictures of all around the structure and stuff like that, and took pictures, in different angles and all. All of a sudden, I said, well, I tell you what, I said, they have said this, that the foot understand English. I said, I'm going to give it a try. And so I'll get let out of here. Hey, you guys, if you find my glasses, will you bring them to me? I sounded like Goonies, Hey,
oh,
you
it's
guys.
Cute. It's so cute. Go ahead.
My friend had to go, and I decided. I thought, well, it was getting dark, and I thought, well, I'll go in the house. Got to get ready for church tomorrow morning and stuff like that. Had a few things. I've been away all day long, so I take care of hubby. And so, when the next morning I got up and I got ready to go to church, and I wanted to go out there to the structure was and check to see if my glasses were there. But I knew they were going to be there. But I had a different path. So I grabbed them and I go on to church. And then about when 12 o'clock got there, buddy, I hit my Jeep and I took off and go. I came to the house, and the first thing I did, I didn't go out there that morning because I had my, dress, my stockings, my shoes, and I didn't want them dirty. But I didn't care now. I was through the church. I said, I'm going to go check to see if my glasses out there. And I got out there and I picked up the phone. I said, look at your picture. I called my friend. I said, look at your pictures. Look at your pictures. She said, why? Look at the pictures of the structure we built. I said, did you see them? Did you see them? She said, see what? I said, my glasses. They're here. They're about 2 inches away from the structure. I looked at my pictures and I said, they're not in my pictures. Are they in yours? She said, no, they're not. I said, they understood. They got me my glasses. And so that was, I didn't really tell nobody that because they thought about, all right, kind of, Bryce Hospital is the leading in for Alabama. So it's time to lock her up in Bryce or something like that. But, I was sitting here and my dog, like I said, he was alpha male. he couldn't get out of the yard, so he couldn't ever go, trailing with us because, we had underground fence around the whole entire yard, 7 acres here. And he got very protective of me. He didn't like men coming around me. And I took him to the vet one time, and I thought, well, I'm going to, and they called me. When I went back to pick him up, they said, the vet wants you to start giving him sedative before he comes. I said, why? I said, well, he tried to play a Harry Houdini on us today. He said, they caught him right when he was jumping out the window. And I said, oh, wow. So the next year I went down there and I gave him 2 sedatives, and the vet walked in. He was sitting at my feet, but he was kind of drowsy. But it startled him, and he jumped up and he did that aggressive German Shepherd bark. And the vet and the vet tech, they backed up, and eventually the vet stuck his arm in there and threw me the muzzle to put on him. So I said, well, I gave him the sedatives like you said. He said, you didn't give him enough. I said, well, I gave him 2. He said, well, next time give him 3 before he comes. So it was time, the next year it was time to go have a shot with him. And he loved my Jeep. And when she got him in there, it was hard to get him out. So my husband decides that he was going to take him to the vet to get a shot. And I said, well, we got to give him a sedative. So I gave him 3. And about 30 minutes later, I called him. I figured he was there at the vet by then. And I asked him, I said, how's Sledge do? He says, he won't get out of the Jeep. I said, what? He said, no, he won't get out of the Jeep. I said, I'll be down there. So I had to jump in, and I had to jump and throw my clothes on and then go down to the vet's office. I said, I'll be there just as soon as I can. So I got there, and I had him on a horse lead rope. And I opened the back door of the Jeep, and I pulled him out. And when I pulled him out, he was fine. And I told my husband, I said, well, go in there and tell the vet techs that we're out of the Jeep now and that they'll let us in the back door. And so he did, and when he came back out, my dog was laying there on the ground. And now if I start crying, y'all forgive me. He was laying on the ground. My husband came out, and I had a muzzle on him. And the dog saw my husband, and he was in a strange place. He was so doped up, he didn't recognize him. And he leaped from ground zero and missed his throat about a half inch. And he kept looking at him, and he broke out of his muzzle, too. And I said, we can't have this. And he said, what are you talking about? I said, we can't have him. I said, we got to put him down. He said, no. I said, we got too many grandbabies. I said, I'm not going to have a dog like this. And sure enough, we tried to see if they could adopt him out or give him to law enforcement, but they wouldn't. They said they wouldn't take him. And it was a hard decision, but we had to put him down. My husband went home. I had to stay, and it just started killing me. Because this dog was everything to me, as far as he was my buddy. He'd sit out with me all night long, and we'd talk and stuff like that.
You're killing me. I've got a bunch of dogs, and you're just killing me. But go on.
Well, I want to cry too. So, but anyway, you can just kind of feel it's been since 2017, and it's been 3 years, but it still hurts because I still got his pictures. But anyway, that was about a month later. I mean, I ceased from sitting out all night on my porch listening to the footchill. I stopped. I love to sit out all night and out there by myself. But my dog was not there with me no more. But one night I went out there, and like I said, I always saw him. So I was sitting out on the back steps, and all of a sudden I heard one of the foots across the road from me in front of the house, and they let out a whoop. I said, I hear you, and I made out a real low whoop. Then I decided, well, I haven't sung to him in a long time, so I started to sing Amazing Grace, and that's how far I got in the song. And then I said, I can't take this, and I jumped up, and I ran in the house. And the next morning, usually when I wake up first thing in the morning, first thing I do is I grab my coffee and I go sit out on my rocking chair out here by my kitchen door. Well, the next morning when I did that, I looked down in my rocking chair, and there sat a pink artificial rose, and there was a pair of glasses with no lens in it. They were letting me know they knew my hurt. It was a gift to me, and they knew that only I knew about the flowers and the glasses, and that's their way of letting me know they're here for me. They're here, and I still got that rose and those pair of glasses.
Oh, that is such a great story. I just love that. I mean, I know how I've got 2 old dogs, and I don't even want to think about it, but I know how bad you hurt. It's almost like losing another person, and then to have these things, you know, come to your side like that. So going back to what I said, it's a little bit like a dog, because a dog has feelings, and dogs know when you're sad, when you're happy. They react to your moods, but this shows thinking, compassion, and benevolence, and because they remembered way back when you lost your glasses, and they brought you a flower and a pair of glass frames just to let you. That's unreal. That's just unbelievable.
Well, I still have that flower and those glasses. It's on my mantle, and I think I'll always cherish them. It's, a lot of people think it's the little simplicity of the gift. It's the gift of love, and that's what they were showing, their love toward me, and they knew that I was hurting so bad. I mean, it's got to be hurting pretty bad when somebody can't raise their voice up and sing a song or whatever. I mean, it just, oh man, it really hurt me something bad, and they knew it. But they've always come around when I have felt bad, broke my foot. That's when I found the 22-inch print. Right. And then I had some dental work that hurt me pretty bad, and I captured them on I captured one looking into my kitchen window at me. Captured the side of his head and his shoulder, brownish red. There's different colors in them. And believe me, there's different. I want to tell you something. Now, you have your good, you have your bad, and you have your ugly. You have, a lot of times, juveniles, they love to prank you and stuff like that. Because they can really screw you. Yeah, through the juvies.
Well, now,
go ahead.
I was going to say, and we've talked 2 or 3 times, and I keep bringing this up, but so you've got this sweet side of them, for lack of a better term. That's what I would call it. There's just a sweet side to them, but there's also an experience you had that that kind of counters that, and it was one of them charged you. Can you set that up and talk about that, and then kind of tell everybody what that was all about?
Okay. Well, first of all, like I said, this was during the time that this con man came in on my mother, and her being in her 80s, and she wanted some thin cuts of property. He got in here and he started strip cutting it. Clear cutting it, which he had no, He was over there at some gravel pits that we owned that had been rolled up for about 40 years. There's 5 lakes over there, just a wild habitat, and it was locked up. Nobody would go over there. But I knew that was one of the places that they lived. Now, I'm going to say this. There's not just one in these woods. There's many. There's a tribe of them.
Okay.
So this upset them. And all summer long, I'd go out during the middle of the day, no matter what time it was, and they would scream at me across the road. They knew I was connected to the land. They knew it, and they were coming to me. Well, you know, a lot of times, even the good ones, they form a mistrust on human beings, especially when there's an environmental change. You can just imagine if somebody come in and started tearing up your house, how you feel about it.
Oh yeah.
And so it was in December, one of the coldest months of the year. It was back in 2016. It was pretty cold that year. It was down below the 30s, and it was about a week before Christmas. And we had this investigator that came to our house, and we had several other people. We heard there was some ladies here. Well, they said, well, tonight's ladies' night. Everybody, we want y'all to go out and do some things. So we went across the road in the field, and then one of my friends, my husband, I never go out without my gun. Now, people said that they won't show if you got a gun or a camera. That's not true. They will too. What it is, they know your heart. But here's what happened. My husband was going to the store, so he asked could he have my pistol. I said, sure. Well, one of my friends says, hey, I got a bat. And I said, well, okay. Like it's really going to do damage, you know. But you don't want to go out there because we have wild boar, we have coyotes, we have cougars, we have bear, and we have wolves. And so we walked over in the field. It was about them. And one of my friends started walking down the logging road down toward the swamp. And I said, don't go down there. Don't go down there. I said, even though it's cold, there's some bad things down there. You know, I'm not sure if water moccasins ever hibernate. Do they?
They do. They do.
Okay. Well, all I know is coyotes and hogs and stuff like wild hogs and stuff, and they'll kill you if you run up on one. And she didn't have no kind of weapon or no flashlight or nothing. I mean, we're brave.
Wait a minute. What did you ask me about hibernating? Water moccasin?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were talking about, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
But anyway, she went on and she disappeared down there at the swamp. And then a friend was sitting up there. She had a pistol. We thought, don't go down there, come back. We kept calling her name. And we could hear the foot moving in around us. And we could hear them. They were breaking limbs. They were walking through that dry grass and stuff like that. And we could yell for her and said, come on back. And finally she just disappeared. And then all of a sudden, here comes this white shadow walking up this road. And the distance, we couldn't really tell how tall it was, how big it was because of the distance. It was so dark. And my friend, she unlatched her latch on the gun holster, and I was sitting there. And then finally, the friend that was down in the swamp got the giggling, and I said, don't do that to us no more. I said, don't do that to us no more. You know, I was raising these kids in these woods, but I sure wouldn't have done nothing like that. No. I mean, Mama didn't raise no fool.
Yeah.
But anyway, I said, let's get out of here. I feel like we really need to leave. I mean, it was one of these heart-wrenching decisions. You need to go.
Yeah.
Well, that was coming across me. And then we started walking out of the field, and we got right to the road that led to the main road. And when we did, we heard something. I heard something first. I don't know if they heard it or what. At that time, but I was sitting there and I had the bat in my hand, and it started charging me right behind us. I mean, it was big and it was moving fast. And I took that bat and I swung around. I went all the way around just as hard as I could. And the other two ladies, they said, whoa, what was that? I said, didn't y'all hear that? She said, yes, we heard it. I said, yeah, we're getting out of here. And then it came to me, don't go back in the woods at night. The investigators here, I believe there was a combination of things. What made them so upset was the fact that their home had been destroyed. Number two, they had lost trust in a lot of people, not me, but others and stuff like that, and they were being real cautious. And I felt very intimidated that night. And there was another time, well, that night it came to me, don't go back in the woods at night alone. And there was another night that I felt very intimidated. And I was sitting out on the porch, and my daughter-in-law was having a baby. And she called and she told me, she said that she was in labor. And I put it down on Facebook, and one of my friends from Brooklyn, New York, said, call me. I said, it's 1 o'clock. Don't matter, call me. So I was sitting there, and the main thing is when they do something like that, don't respond. Don't act like you're scared, because they're accomplishing what they want. So I was real loud. I was excited to have my grandbaby, this, that, the other, and everything. And my husband gets up and says, why don't you go outside? You're talking too loud. I said, okay, I'll go outside. So I come outside on the porch, and I'm just chatting around, laughing and giggling, and, going to have a new grandbaby. Excuse me. And I sit down in the rocker, and I was sitting there, and I was just talking away, and then all of a sudden it sounded like somebody took a bat. And they went, whack, about 20 feet away from me. Not even 20 feet away from me. Right there in my front courtyard. Now sitting on the side of the house on the porch. And I didn't jump, I didn't do nothing, but I cut my eyes that way. And I didn't say nothing to my friend that was on the phone. So she said, what was that? I said, what are you talking about? That banging noise. I said, banging noise? She said, yes, it went like. I said, you heard that? Yeah, I heard that. She said, what was it? And I said, well, I wasn't going to say nothing to you, but it sounded like somebody took a bat and hit one of these oak trees right out here in the front. And she's full-blooded Italian, and she's from Brooklyn, New York. And, honey, let me tell you, the F-bomb started dropping. She said, get in the house. Get in the house. I mean, she was way up in New York, and I'm down here in Alabama. She's scared to death for me. I still laugh about it to this day.
Oh, that's funny.
But something else you want to ask me?
Well, so you've seen the sweet part and you've seen the angry part, but you know why the angry behavior is going on. I mean, obviously they're, somebody's coming in and clear cutting timber off a mountain or whatever. And, but all in all, you still think they have no intention of harming people. They have no intention of, running you off. And if you belong there, and you just have I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but you have a pretty good feeling about the whole thing.
Well, yes, I do have a good feeling about it. And like I said, they know I'm connected to the land. As far as trusting them, I'll just put it this way. I have a great respect for them.
Right.
I'm not going to do anything stupid. If I see them, I might put my hand up and walk on by, I don't want to get too close to one of the little ones.
Right.
I don't want to hem them up because I know that they could be dangerous. I've heard stories and I believe some of the stories. But I don't believe all the stories, but I do from what I've experienced over the years. I've got a treasure trove of encounters I could tell you about.
Yeah.
And the bad ones and stuff like that and bad ones. And they do follow people. They do follow people. But
you, as far as their demeanor, you're pretty sure if you or maybe one of your granddaughters or whatever was in a bind, out in the woods or whatever, you think if they're close, they're going to help you.
Yeah, I do.
That's unreal. Okay. Well, we're at another 30 minutes here. I want to just talk about one other thing and then I'll let you get back to your family. But you made some comments on a conversation we had last week about researchers and the, the old adage that for these things to be proved to be real, we're going to have a body, and that there's people out there who will kill them or would want to kill them, and just for that. What are your opinions on that?
Well, yeah, they have a bounty on their head, and it's a shame that before they can be pronounced as being real, not mythology, they've got to have a body. But you look at Jane Goodall about the great apes, you've got, I believe, I don't want to aid anybody to get a body on the slab, is what I would say.
Right.
Because I think they're more human than they are animal. I really do believe that.
Okay.
I mean, for the emotions they show, and hey, they do understand English. and I don't know. There's a great mystery about them, but I just don't. I just feel like they go at great lengths to stay hidden from us, and they don't bother you. Why would you want to go out and kill something that's not bothering you?
Right. Just to prove it's real. So it's like, they're real. They have a very sophisticated system of staying concealed, and let's just leave it like that.
That's the way I feel about it. I mean, they're not hurting nobody. They're not breaking into nobody's bank and robbing the bank or shooting somebody up. I mean, they're very peaceful. I said people, but I don't know I don't know how much human they got in them, but they've got a lot of human nature, is what I'm saying.
I think we all know what you mean. Yeah. And see, that's funny. That's not a slip of the tongue. That's really the way you feel. I mean, you look at them as almost your counterpart in the woods, or that's the undercurrent I'm getting.
Well, let me tell you something. Even the Bible talks about giants in the land, and Esau, Jacob's brother.
Right.
He was a tall, hairy man, and everything. And the biblical account of it also refers to, giants in the land, hairy people, and everything. There was even a tribe that had faces like that of a lion. Everybody in the tribe had the face of a lion. So, there's a lot of things that I tried to figure. When I first realized this was real and I heard the screaming, I questioned. I thought, oh my goodness, did I done open up a door for did some kind of demon break through this?
Yeah.
I mean, it scared me. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, that's the thing about it. I still don't know everything. I'm still a student, and I learn more and more every day. But like I said, they have emotions. They do take care of you. I know they do. They're very inquisitive. They're very inquisitive.
What I found out is that people like you who are around them and have had vast experience with this kind of activity, all of y'all seem to feel that way, for the most part. I can't remember, off the top of my head, I can't remember anybody that doesn't, but I know you've heard Bear with the Outlaws talk before, him and Matt Knapp, and he's got them all over his property in central Mississippi, and he talks about them like you do. Although I don't know that he talks about them as in such a sweet way, but it's like him and his grandfather, you and your grandfathers. I'd love to hear some of your grandfather's encounters if he ever told you any, but y'all all talk the same way, that they're just a creature that lives there and they belong there, and I belong here, and we live in peace. And that's pretty common with people that are around them a lot. But what you hear from people that are like armchair enthusiasts like me, I mean, I'm one of those, is that it's going to take a body to prove them real. Well, the more I talk to people like you, the more I understand that maybe we don't need to prove they're real. Maybe that's not necessary for the world to be a better place. Does that make sense?
Well, I will tell you this. There is a man that claimed that he killed one.
Yeah.
And you talk about people getting mad. Woo! I mean, there was people mad all over the United States.
What was his name? Do you remember?
I know who his name is. And it was fake.
There was some guy that came out later and said, well, it was all just a hoax after he had made a ton of money off of it. But so,
yeah.
Well, we're going to wind this down. It's, we're at about 35 minutes here. And is there anything else you'd like to tell people that will hear this, Kat, that, just some parting words on this?
Well, the only thing that I would say to everybody is I've always questioned, why me? Why me? And I finally realized what the why me is about. You know, I had said something about how people ridicule you and persecute you because you said you've seen something. But I'm going to tell you this. There's a lot of people in very high places that have had encounters with Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. And they really need a support system. They really do.
Yeah.
And I had to fight through it. I had to prove it. That's what got me to go out searching is I had to get mad. I had to fight through it. And just to see these skeptics and these people that mocked me and ridiculed me, went to bars and had whole people down in town talking about this crazy person up here got Bigfoot. Well, I was so blessed to see their jaws drop. You know?
Yeah.
I want people to know. I don't want no dead body on the slab. I just want people to know the truth. You don't have to have a body. Hey, I don't have to have, you don't have, well, just put it this way. Cam, I don't have to have your dead body to prove that you're real, now do I?
Right.
I mean, you're real. And they leave behind too much physical evidence. They're smart. They know how to move around, keep from making evidence, but they're there. So don't get discouraged. Just hold your head up. You know what you saw. You know what you heard. You know what you've been through. Nobody else does. So I want to encourage you. Just keep on going.
Yeah.
Don't let them pull you up.
Those are such good words. And, you know, that's not necessarily the mission of this little silly YouTube channel I do. But people have really come together, and I even started this is a goofy little thing I say on the video is that if you like these stories and this kind of thing, you found your people. And I think that's kind of, anyway, people have kind of come together around, you can read it in the comments, and people have kind of come together around this. And it's just kind of we're just kind of the weird and wonderful just off here in our little corner doing our little thing. And there's no ridicule and no, I don't question any of these stories or anything like that, but your words are so much better than anything I could say. And I really appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be your first interview.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. You were so sweet about it.
I feel privileged. I rubbed dancers out tonight. I ain't full moon. I'll go dancing outside.
Well, I'm so happy and everybody listening, I gave her every chance to back out because I don't want to ever push anybody into doing something just for a silly video. But Kat wanted to come say, and I think mainly what she wanted to say was what she said in the last 5 minutes is she wants everybody who's had an encounter to feel comfortable about it and to deal with it in a nice way and to know that there's other people out there just like you. So, am I pretty close, Kat?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's just great.
You're not alone.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. This is my very first interview, and I probably should have kept my mouth shut, but And I didn't talk too much. So anyway, it's been great. It's been great. And I want you to hang on after I hit this record button, because I want to talk to you for a minute. But listen, thanks everybody for listening, and maybe we'll if you guys like this, maybe we'll do some more of them. And thanks for listening to the video. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks, Kat, for coming on.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Cam.